Let me ask you something. When was the last time you did something that scared the hell out of you? Not something reckless, something bold, something that made your heart race, your hands shake, but deep down you knew it was exactly what you were meant to do. Because here's the truth. Life doesn't reward the cautious, the careful, or the comfortable. Life rewards the bold. It rewards the ones who step forward when everyone else steps back. It rewards the ones who take the shot without knowing where it'll land, but trust they'll either win or grow. Boldness isn't just a quality. It's a decision. And the moment you choose to live boldly, life starts to shift. Opportunities open. Doors appear. Energy rises. Why? Because the universe doesn't respond to hesitation. It responds to certainty. It responds to action. It responds to boldness. Most people walk through life like they're tiptoeing toward death, hoping to make it safely to the end without ever waking up to what they're capable of. They live in a prison they don't even see, a prison built out of fear. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of looking stupid, fear of not being enough. And what they don't realize is that fear isn't something to run from. It's something to run toward. Because fear is the gatekeeper. It stands at the threshold of your greatest breakthrough, and most people turn around the second they see it. But not you, not anymore. Because if you're going to create an extraordinary life, you've got to understand one truth that will never change. Fear is not your enemy, it's your compass. It's not a stop sign, it's a signal, a flashing light saying, this is where your growth lives. This is where your power is waiting. Think about it. The moments in your life that shaped you, defined you, strengthened you, how many of those moments were born out of comfort? How many of them happened while you were playing it safe? None of them. Your greatest transformations came from walking into the fire, from facing something that terrified you and doing it anyway. Fear is just energy. That's all it is. It's your mind imagining a future you think you can't handle. But the truth is you can handle anything. You've already survived more than you think. You've already walked through storms that would break most people. So why let fear hold the pen and write the next chapter of your story? Why let it dictate what you chase, what you avoid, who you become? You see, bold people feel fear too. They just make a different decision. They feel the butterflies, the tight chest, the trembling hands, and instead of retreating, they lean in. They understand that if it doesn't scare them a little, it's not worth doing. Because fear is a sign that something is meaningful. It means you care. It means you're alive. And if you're feeling fear, it means you're right on the edge of something powerful. The greatest leaders, the highest performers, the game changers in any field, what sets them apart isn't that they were fearless. It's that they acted in spite of fear. They knew that fear was just a story, and they chose to write a better one. They chose to see fear as a gate, not a wall. And they walked through it with their eyes open, their hearts open, and their minds made up. You want to know what kills more dreams than failure ever could? Indecision, paralysis, waiting for the right time. There is no perfect moment. There is only now. And in this moment, you've got a choice. You can shrink to fit the boundaries fear has drawn around you, or you can break through those boundaries like they were never real to begin with, because they're not. They're imaginary. And boldness shatters the illusion. Here's the truth you've got to install deep in your nervous system. Fear is inevitable, but so is power. They both live inside you, but only one of them will run your life, and you get to decide which one. Every time you choose courage over comfort, you strengthen your identity. You become someone who acts, someone who leads, someone who doesn't wait for life to hand them permission slips. You become the kind of person life rewards. It's not about pretending fear doesn't exist. That's nonsense. It's about honoring it, acknowledging it, but never letting it dictate your destiny. It's about standing toe-to-toe with fear and saying, I see you, I feel you, but you don't own me. You don't get to write this script. And listen, you're going to fail. Let's not sugarcoat it. You're going to fall. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have days where nothing makes sense. But those aren't the days that define you. The days that define you are the ones when fear was loud, but your decision to move forward was louder. When you make decisions that feel like fear, you're going to make decisions that feel fearless, whole and complete. That's when I really feel like I'm living. When your decision to move forward was louder, your decision to move forward was louder. It's your decision to move forward was louder. Those are the days that define you. The days that I walk around, that which you former me, inspired by, the days where I said, the days that I walk around, the days when everything inside you screamed to turn back, and you chose to take one more step. That's what builds greatness. That's what builds a life on fire instead of a life on autopilot. So the next time fear shows up, and it will, you welcome it like an old friend. You thank it for showing you where the edge is. And then you step up to that edge, look out into the unknown and leap. Not because you know how it's going to turn out, but because boldness is who you are now. You don't need certainty to act. You just need to trust that you'll figure it out, that you've got more inside you than you ever imagined, that fear is the gatekeeper, but courage holds the key. And it's been in your hands the whole time. We live in a world overflowing with information, options, and opinions, yet most people stay stuck, not because they lack resources, but because they lack boldness. They hesitate. They overthink. They wait for all the lights to turn green before they even leave the driveway. And the problem with that is life doesn't wait. Opportunity doesn't sit patiently on your doorstep, knocking softly, hoping you'll answer. It shows up in flashes, in moments, and it favors the one who moves, especially when the outcome is uncertain. Bold action slices through the fog of hesitation like a blade. It's the difference between talking about it and becoming it. When you move boldly, you send a message to yourself and to the world. I am not here to play small. I am not here to tiptoe through the maze of maybe and someday. I am here to make things happen. And that kind of energy, it's magnetic. It attracts possibility. It makes people stop and take notice. Why? Because boldness is rare. We're surrounded by people who are thinking, planning, preparing, doubting, but not doing. And the one who takes bold, decisive action, even if it's messy, even if it's imperfect, immediately stands out. Look around. History doesn't remember the hesitant. It remembers the ones who had the audacity to take action when everyone else was frozen. Action doesn't just produce results. It produces clarity. It's in the doing, in the moving forward, that you learn, adjust, evolve. But if you sit on the sidelines waiting for certainty, you'll never get in the game. The truth is, you don't need perfect conditions. You need the courage to take the first step and then the next. Momentum is created through movement, not through more thinking. And here's the kicker. Boldness isn't about being reckless. It's about being decisive. It's about trusting that you'll figure it out along the way. People think they need confidence to act. No, you get confidence by acting. You build certainty by putting yourself in motion. Every time you take bold action, even when you're unsure, you reinforce a powerful identity. The identity of someone who creates outcomes instead of waiting for them. You want to change your life? Don't wait for the stars to align. Align your actions and make the stars move. Boldness isn't just about big dramatic moments either. It's about the daily decision to step in instead of backing out, to speak up instead of staying silent, to risk looking foolish instead of living in regret. Because the pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. Most people are addicted to safety. They want guarantees. But the truth is, nothing extraordinary was ever created from a place of certainty. All greatness begins with a leap, with a risk, with someone saying, I don't know exactly how this will go, but I'm going anyway. That's power, that's boldness. That's how the game is won. And yes, sometimes it won't go the way you hoped. Sometimes you'll fall flat. But the one who acts boldly doesn't fear failure. They use it, they learn, they grow, they adjust and strike again. That's how mastery is born. Not from waiting, but from relentless motion. Think of the moments in your life when everything changed. Were they slow, careful, calculated, or were they sparked by a moment of courage? A moment where you acted from your gut. That's what changes things. That's what moves the needle. Life opens up when you stop needing all the answers and start trusting your ability to handle whatever comes next. It's not about knowing the entire path, it's about owning your next step. When you act boldly, you activate your internal power. You tap into a force that has always been there, buried under layers of doubt, fear, and conditioning, but boldness brings it to the surface. It reminds you of who you really are, not the version of you shaped by fear or other people's opinions, but the version that was built to create, to lead, to make a dent in the universe. Bold action doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't seek consensus. It doesn't stall for the perfect plan. It moves with purpose. And even when it's uncertain, even when it's uncomfortable, it moves anyway. Because the act of moving is what creates new possibilities. Most people are looking at the door, hoping it opens. Bold people kick it down. They don't ask, can I? They ask, what's my next move? And then they take it. So whatever it is you're sitting on, whatever idea, goal, relationship, business, vision, you already know what needs to happen. You've just been waiting. And the truth is, waiting won't bring you what you want. Action will. Bold, deliberate, fearless action. The kind that says, I may not have it all figured out, but I trust myself enough to begin. That's where your power lives. Not in theory, not in planning, in doing. In choosing to cut through doubt with movement. Life rewards those who dare to act when others hesitate. Be that person. Be bold. Not someday, not when it's safe, not when you're ready. Be bold now. Because now is all you ever have, and if you use it boldly, life will open doors you didn't even know existed. There is a force in this world that few understand, but everyone feels. It's the difference between the people who seem to manifest opportunity out of thin air and the ones who work hard but never seem to break through. It's not luck, it's not talent, it's certainty. When you show up in life with unshakable certainty about who you are, about what you want, about what you're willing to do, life responds. The world moves out of the way for people who know exactly where they're going and refuse to be denied. You've probably felt it before. You meet someone and within seconds you can feel their presence. They don't even have to speak loudly. They just carry something with them, an energy, a groundedness, a knowing. That's not arrogance. That's certainty. That's the power of alignment between your mind, your emotions, and your purpose. And that's what life rewards. Not people who dabble, not people who hope, but people who are absolutely committed. Because when you bring that kind of certainty, you become a magnet for results. People don't follow hesitation. They follow conviction. Think about any great leader, any top performer, any trailblazer. They didn't get where they are by being half in. They made a decision, a real decision, one that cut off any other possibility. They burned the boats. They removed the escape hatch. And that level of commitment creates a gravitational pull. Opportunities, people, and resources start to show up, not because the universe suddenly changed, but because you did. When you live in hesitation, life hesitates with you. When you're unsure, the world reflects that uncertainty back to you. Say you want a new business, a better body, a fulfilling relationship, but if your energy, your language, your behavior are filled with doubt, what do you expect to receive? Life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you believe. It gives you what you're aligned with. And belief is expressed through action, through emotion, through the way you carry yourself when no one's watching. Certainty isn't pretending everything's going to be perfect. It's knowing that no matter what, you'll find a way. It's not confidence in the outcome. It's confidence in yourself. That's a big distinction because the outcome is never fully in your control. But your response, your effort, your consistency, that's on you. That's where real certainty is born. It's built in the trenches, not in the daydreams. It's built by keeping promises to yourself, by doing the work when it's hard, by deciding again and again that you're not backing down. You've got to install that belief into your nervous system so deeply that quitting isn't even an option. So that when things get tough, and they will, you don't retreat, you rise. You don't ask, can I handle this? You declare, I was built for this. That kind of mindset doesn't come from reading a book, or listening to a podcast. It comes from making a choice and backing it up with action. It comes from choosing every single day to live in alignment with your mission. And here's what's powerful. When you show up with that certainty, people feel it. Clients feel it, employers feel it, partners feel it. Your energy doesn't lie. You might be able to fake confidence for a while, but certainty is deeper than that. It's in your body language, your tone, your eyes, your walk. It's the feeling that says, I'm not hoping this works. I'm making it work. People want to be around that energy. They want to invest in it. They want to follow it because deep down, everyone's looking for stability, for direction. And when you bring certainty, you become the leader. Whether you have the title or not, you influence your environment just by how you show up. That's the power of being all in. But you can't just manufacture this feeling once and expect it to stick. Certainty is something you cultivate. It's like a fire you feed. You feed it by remembering who you are, by reconnecting with your reasons, by celebrating your wins, by conditioning your mind, your body, and your soul every day. And when you do that consistently, something amazing happens. You stop chasing. You start attracting. You stop begging for opportunity. You start commanding it, not with ego, but with presence, with power, with certainty. You become the kind of person that life opens up to because life doesn't want to invest in maybe, it wants to invest in must. Not I'll try, not I hope, but this is happening. I will find a way or make one. That's the energy that moves mountains. That's the energy that creates breakthroughs. That's the energy that turns dreams into reality. So if you've been stuck, if you've been spinning your wheels, if you've been playing small, it's not because you're broken. It's because you've been living in uncertainty. And that ends now. Make the decision. Rejection. Just the word alone makes most people flinch. It's wired deep in our nervous systems, the fear of not being accepted, not being wanted, not being good enough. And because of that, most people spend their entire lives avoiding it. They play small. They don't speak up. They don't reach out. They don't risk. Not because they don't want more, but because they're terrified of hearing no. But here's the truth that flips your world upside down. Rejection is not a failure. Rejection is feedback. Rejection is proof that you're alive, that you're in the arena, that you're trying. You don't get rejected if you're hiding in the corner. You don't get rejected if you're sitting on the sidelines watching everyone else take their shot. You get rejected when you dare to put yourself on the line. When you raise your hand. When you say, I'm here. I'm ready. So what if someone says no? So what if it doesn't go the way you planned? Every rejection is a filter. It's separating the people, places, and opportunities that weren't aligned with who you really are, so you can make space for the ones that are. But bold people, the ones who build extraordinary lives, they don't just tolerate rejection, they welcome it. Because they understand it's part of the process. They know that rejection isn't personal, it's direct. It's life's way of saying not here, not now, but keep going. And they do, again and again. They get told no, and they try again. They stumble and they get up. They keep moving because they know that on the other side of all those no's is the one yes that changes everything. The ones who get everything they want out of life aren't the ones who were never rejected. They're the ones who were rejected the most and kept going anyway. Because every no you face builds emotional muscle. Every no thickens your skin, sharpens your edge, strengthens your resolve. It teaches you not to crumble at the first sign of adversity. It forces you to dig deeper, to find a new angle, to refine your message, your approach, your mindset. And that refinement, that's how you grow. That's how you go from average to unstoppable. See, most people think rejection means stop. Old people know it means adjust. It means there's something to learn here. Maybe the timing's off. Maybe the message didn't land. Maybe it just wasn't your door. But they never take it as a reflection of their worth. That's the trap. That's what kills dreams. Not rejection itself, but the meaning we attach to it. We think a no means we're not good enough, that we're not talented enough, that we'll never make it. That's a lie. It means none of those things. It means you're doing something most people never do. you're showing up. You don't get stronger by avoiding resistance. You get stronger by facing it. Rejection is resistance. It's weight. And just like in the gym, that weight is what builds your power. You want to grow? You want to evolve? You want to become someone who commands life instead of reacts to it? Then you've got to stop avoiding rejection and start leaning into it. Make it a part of your routine. Get so used to hearing no that it doesn't faze you anymore. Get so desensitized to it that it loses all its power. Because that's where freedom lives, not in never hearing no, but in not being controlled by it. And here's the wild part. The more comfortable you get with rejection, the more success you'll start to create. Why? Because the people who aren't afraid to ask, to reach, to go for it, those are the ones who win. They don't wait for the perfect conditions. They don't talk themselves out of opportunities. They go for it, knowing full well they might get turned down. But they also know this: every time they go for it, they increase their chances. They sharpen their skills. They expand their network. They build their reputation as someone who takes action. So what if someone says no? Say thank you and move on. You're not here to beg. You're not here to please. You're here to grow, to serve, to lead. And leaders don't crumble at the first sign of resistance. Leaders lean into it. They use it. They let rejection refine them, not define them. You want to live a bold life? Then make peace with rejection. Dance with it. Learn from it. Because every no is just a step closer to your next yes. Every no is just another sign that you're playing the game at a level most people avoid. And eventually, after enough no's, you hit the moment that makes them all worth it. The client who says yes. The investor who believes in your vision. The partner who sees your value. The opportunity that changes your life. But you never get to that yes if you let the no's stop you. So don't hide from rejection. Hunt for it. Chase it down. Be the one who gets told no more than anyone else. Because that means you're in the game more than anyone else. That means you're stretching, risking, growing. And that's what it takes. Rejection is not the end of your story. It's just the tension in the middle that makes the breakthrough even more powerful. Keep going. Keep knocking. Keep asking. Because one yes, just one, can make all the no's irrelevant. And that's the life that rewards the bold. There's a fundamental shift that happens when you stop waiting for the perfect moment and start creating your own. Most people are stuck in a loop of someday. Someday I'll start the business. Someday I'll speak my truth. Someday I'll go after what I really want. But here's the hard truth. Someday is a lie. It doesn't exist. There is no perfect time. There is no magical alignment of stars where everything feels safe and ready. Waiting is a trap. It's disguised as patience, but it's often fear wearing a mask. Bold people know that the future isn't something you wait for, it's something you build. Creating your own moment means refusing to sit around for permission. It means deciding that now is your time, not because conditions are ideal, but because you decide they are. Because you recognize that power isn't given, it's taken. Opportunity isn't found, it's forged. Boldness is what transforms potential into reality. And the people who succeed in life, who rise above average, who create massive impact, they don't wait, they move. They step forward while others stall. They act while others hesitate. And that's why life bends in their favor. Every moment you wait, someone else is doing. Every second you hesitate, someone else is creating. You've got ideas, you've got vision, you've got fire, but none of that matters if it stays locked inside your mind. The world doesn't reward intention, it rewards execution. You want the next level, you've got to stop hoping it appears and start showing up like it's already yours. That's not delusion, that's creation. That's how leaders move. They don't chase moments, they create them. They don't hope the stage will find them, they build the stage, stand on it, and speak. You already have everything you need inside you, but you've got to activate it. You've got to decide that today is the day. Not when you feel ready, not when it's comfortable, but when it counts. And it always counts right now. Bold people understand that clarity comes from movement, not from thinking. If you're unclear, it's because you're not moving. The moment you begin, when you write the first line, make the first call, step on the stage, hit record, shake the hand, That's when momentum shows up. That's when life begins to respond to you differently. Creating your own moment means owning your environment. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, energetically. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start becoming a creator of conditions. You choose your energy before the day starts. You condition your mind before doubt creeps in. You shift from reaction to intention. It's a different posture. It's a different presence. It's walking into every situation like it belongs to you, not because of ego, but because of purpose. You stop waiting to be noticed and start showing up to be felt. There's power in being the initiator. Most people live their lives on defense, responding, adjusting, waiting to see what happens. But the bold live on offense. They initiate conversations. They initiate change. They initiate moves that others are afraid to make. They don't wait for green lights. They move forward and trust they'll figure it out. And even when they stumble, they adjust and keep going. Because that's the game. It's not about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about showing life you're serious. The truth is, nobody is coming to hand you your dream. Nobody is coming to crown you and say, now you're ready. You've got to crown yourself. You've got to act like you belong before you ever get the results. Because the moment you stop asking for permission, you access a deeper power. You stop playing small. You stop watering yourself down to fit someone else's comfort zone. You step fully into who you are. And you take up space unapologetically. That's what creating your own moment looks like. It's a declaration. I'm not waiting any. You take initiative, you disrupt the script. You create a ripple. You show people what's possible. You wake something up in yourself that's been dormant. And here's what's wild. When you start creating your own moment, others begin to follow your lead. You give them permission to rise. Your boldness becomes a mirror that shows them their own potential. That's how movements are born, not from waiting, but from one person deciding to go first. You don't need more time, you need more courage. You don't need to know all the steps, you need to take the first one. You don't need to be chosen, you need to choose yourself. Every excuse, every delay, every doubt is just a layer of fear keeping you from your next breakthrough. Rip through it. Break the pattern. Decide that today is the moment you stop being passive and start being powerful. This is your life. Not a rehearsal, not a draft. It's happening right now. And the ones who win are the ones who step into the fire before they feel ready. The ones who stop looking at the clock and start acting like time is their ally, not their enemy. You want transformation? You want the extraordinary? Then build it. Speak it. Lead it. Start it. Be the spark. Because the moment you do, life will meet you with more than you ever imagine. But only if you move first. Only if you create the moment instead of waiting for it to find you. Boldness goes first. Boldness doesn't wait. And life, every single time, rewards the bold. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision that something matters more than fear. It's the willingness to step forward when everything in your body is screaming to pull back. And in the game of life, the people who get the results, the breakthroughs, the transformations, they're not the ones who feel fearless. They're the ones who feel the fear and do it anyway. Because boldness isn't about comfort. It's about commitment. It's about deciding that your vision, your calling, your future is worth the risk. Too many people wait for fear to go away before they act. But fear doesn't vanish on its own. It only dissolves when you confront it. You take the action and then the fear loses its grip. That's the paradox. Action creates confidence. Confidence doesn't come first. It's the result. And the bold know this. They're not superhuman. They've just trained their nervous system to move through fear instead of freeze in it. They've made courage a habit, a muscle they use daily. And because of that, they move faster, dream bigger, and execute harder than the average person ever dares. Boldness isn't loud. It's not about puffing your chest or faking bravado. Real boldness is quiet power. It's the calm, grounded energy of someone who knows who they are and what they're about. It's the decision to speak your truth even when your voice shakes. It's raising your hand in the meeting when your heart is pounding. It's making the investment when your mind is filled with doubt. It's walking away from what's safe because your soul knows there's something more. That's what real courage looks like, not the absence of fear, but the refusal to be controlled by it. Every breakthrough in your life will require a bold step. Every new level will ask for a stronger version of you. And the universe will test you, not to punish you, but to prepare you. It'll ask, do you really want this? Are you willing to face uncertainty, judgment, rejection, failure? Because if you're not willing to risk something, you're not ready to grow. Comfort is the enemy of progress. And every time you choose safety over growth, you reinforce a version of yourself that's smaller than what you're capable of becoming. Think about the moments that changed your life. The jobs you got, the relationships you built, the opportunities that opened, they came from moments where you leaned in instead of backed out, where you spoke up, took a risk, said yes, said no, moved forward even when it was messy and unclear. Those weren't random. They were acts of boldness. They were your courage showing up. And that same power is still inside you, waiting to be used again. There's no success without some kind of leap. And the leap always looks bigger than it is from the edge. But once you jump, once you commit, you realize you were more ready than you thought. Because life supports movement. Momentum builds energy. And when you go first, when you take that step without the guarantee, things start to shift. Doors open. People appear. Resources come. Not because you waited for them, but because you moved toward them. But understand this. Courage isn't a one-time event. It's a way of living. It's built in your daily decisions. The decision to wake up and push even when you're tired, to keep going after a setback, to lean into the tough conversation, to believe in yourself when there's no evidence yet, to keep your heart open when it would be easier to shut it down. These are the quiet acts of courage that compound into a bold life. A life you don't just survive, you own. You don't need to be fearless. You need to be willing. Willing to step. Willing to try. Willing to be seen. Willing to fail in front of others and get back up anyway. Because the more you do that, the more you realize fear is just noise. It's a signal, not a stop sign. And once you learn to hear it, feel it, and still move forward, you become unstoppable. You stop shrinking, you stop hesitating, you stop letting other people's opinions dictate your potential. This is your life, not your rehearsal, not your warm-up. And every day that passes is a day you'll never get back. You can spend it hiding, waiting, doubting, or you can spend it expanding, risking, speaking, building, loving, leading. And the truth is, it's not just about you. Your boldness gives others permission to rise. When you show up with courage, it inspires the people around you to do the same. You become a lighthouse, not by being perfect, but by being real and being willing to walk through the fire first. So here's the question. What would your life look like if you acted boldly every day for the next year? What if you stopped asking for signs and became the sign? What if you stopped waiting to be chosen and started choosing yourself? That version of you exists. It's not a fantasy. It's a decision. The bold you, the courageous you, the true you. And life, this wild, beautiful, unpredictable life, will always rise to meet the one who moves with heart, with power, and with boldness. Because in the end, it's not the safest path that wins. It's the boldest one.